For the overwhelming span of human history, life was defined by scarcity, violence, and short lifespans. Then, beginning in late 17th century England, something extraordinary happened, a dramatic and unprecedented explosion in human prosperity, safety, and innovation. This was not an inevitable historical progression but a miraculous break from the norm. The catalyst was the advent of a specific set of ideas and institutions, broadly termed liberal democracy and capitalism, that managed to successfully counteract humanity's darker, tribal instincts. These systems championed individual rights, the rule of law, and limited government, creating a framework where human ingenuity could flourish, cooperation could expand beyond kin groups, and wealth could be generated on a scale previously unimaginable. This miracle found uniquely fertile ground in England due to a confluence of factors. The tradition of English common law established a precedent-based system that limited arbitrary power and protected property rights, even against the monarchy. England's island geography lessened the constant threat of invasion, reducing the need for a large standing army and a consequently militarized, centralized state. Furthermore, a culture of strong civil society and individual initiative fostered what observers called a spirit of association, where people freely collaborated outside of government control to solve problems and build communities. This combination created the soil from which the modern world grew. The sheer improbability of this miracle is underscored by a clear-eyed understanding of human nature. Psychological and anthropological evidence suggests that while humans possess an innate moral sense, we are also naturally tribal, distrustful of outsiders, and prone to violence when those instincts are not checked. Studies of traditional societies and infant behavior reveal deep-seated preferences for one's own group and a capacity for cruelty toward perceived outsiders. The modern liberal order represents a monumental civilizing achievement because it constructed institutions, impartial courts, enforceable contracts, police forces, that suppressed these violent tendencies and allowed strangers to cooperate peacefully. The result has been a staggering decline in violence and a dramatic increase in human well-being. The intellectual foundations of this new order were laid during the Enlightenment, but philosophers were deeply divided on its nature and purpose. Thinkers like John Locke argued that the primary role of the state was to protect the individual's inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property, securing these against a dangerous state of nature. This vision profoundly influenced the American founding fathers. In contrast, Jean-Jacques Rousseau believed humans were naturally good but corrupted by society. The state's purpose, therefore, was to embody the general will of the collective, to which individual interests must be subordinated. This fundamental tension between the primacy of the individual and the demands of the collective remains the central political conflict of the modern age. For the miracle to function, it required not just institutions but also a capable class of leaders. A natural aristocracy, a group of individuals distinguished by talent, virtue, and accomplishment, is both inevitable and necessary for any complex society to thrive. The crucial innovation of the American system was not to eliminate this elite but to subject it to democratic limits, competition, and the rule of law. The problem today is not the existence of elites per se, but the emergence of a new, unaccountable aristocracy in the form of the administrative state. This vast network of unelected bureaucrats and regulators increasingly dictates policy, operating with minimal democratic oversight and creating a system where the government manages the people rather than serves them. This sprawling administrative apparatus is identified as a primary engine of the West's potential suicide. It stifles economic dynamism with endless regulation, displaces the vital role of civil society and family, and cultivates a culture of dependency. It operates on the Rousseauian principle that a distant expert knows better than the individual citizen, thereby eroding personal responsibility and local initiative. Coupled with this is the resurgence of tribalism in the form of identity politics. By categorizing people primarily by group characteristics like race, gender, or sexuality and assigning moral status based on group identity, this ideology directly repudiates the Enlightenment principle of individual merit and equal rights. It resurrects the very us versus them mindset that the liberal order was designed to overcome. The survival of the West's miraculous inheritance is not guaranteed. It requires a conscious, deliberate effort to rediscover and recommit to the core values that made it possible, a gratitude for the unprecedented prosperity and peace we enjoy, a recognition that this system is exceptional and fragile, and a renewed dedication to the principles of individual liberty, free speech, and equality before the law. This means vigorously defending these institutions against attacks from both the populist right, which scorns liberal norms in the name of nationalism, and the progressive left, which would subvert them in the name of equity. The miracle was a gift built by specific ideas. Preserving it demands that we understand, cherish, and actively defend those ideas once more.